Some character creation systems that utilize life paths are long and complex, sometimes even becoming essentially a minigame all to themselves. However, other ones are much shorter, sweeter, and can even sometimes be added after the fact. We'll be taking a look at one of those today. Hello, everybody, and welcome. Thank you all for joining us again here today on Hudson's County for another TTRPG talk. This video series takes a look at tabletop role-playing games, related materials, and game design. What we are looking at today is a Character Livepath pamphlet add-on that was created to go along with the One Ring. This is the second edition of the TTRPG based on the Lord of the Rings series created by Free League. And the supplement you see here utilizes the basic rules that you find within the core manual for the second edition of the One Ring, but allowing you essentially to create that basic elements of a character. There are a very limited number of options that you'll find here, and it only takes a couple of rolls to essentially completely develop the basics of a character. Before we dive into the specifics about how the Character Livepath pamphlet actually helps you create an interesting character in the world, first we should define real quick a couple of the mechanical elements that that Livepath system is going to be giving you in order to help create a character. The first is that each character, as you can see on the screen over here at Drogo Baggins, each character has 3 attributes: strength, heart, and wits. If you look here, the smaller upper diamond actually contains the basically the ability score or the attribute score that each of these has. These help set the target number that you're trying to get equal to or above whenever you are rolling a dice pool made up of a d12 plus a number of d6s added together. The number of d6s that you roll is determined by the skills that your character has, which are you can see marked down here. So, for example, if Drogo Baggins was trying to do a courtesy roll, then they would roll a d12 and 3 d6s, and then they would add that all together and see if it equal to or was better than a 12. And if it was equal to or better than a 12, then they succeed. So those are several elements that this is going to be giving us. The other element it's of course going to be giving us is the actual heroic culture itself. Now, we'll talk about specifically which heroic cultures there are when we take a look at the tables, but it also is going to give us some distinctive features that help describe the character. So, for example, here, Drogo Baggins is faithful and honorable. We have Esmeralda Took, who is eager and merry. We have Loibella Bracegirdle, who is inquisitive and keen-eyed. So, as you can see, there are 2, and each of them is describing something about this character that also, I believe, also gives you some advantages. 2 more things to note on this character sheet. After we've used our attribute to determine our target number, it also helps determine this secondary statistic that each of these gives you, which is endurance, hope, and parry, which essentially acts as a form of hit points within certain types of situations, at least from my understanding. Finally, one last thing is that you will notice that some of these skills that are listed on the character sheet have a mark on the little box to the side of it, on the opposite side of the marks to indicate how many ranks there are. These are called favored skills. These are skills that the character is inherently really good at doing, and therefore, whenever you are rolling your dice pool, you actually roll the fate dice twice. Basically, you roll the fate dice in the pool with advantage. So now let's go ahead and take a look at the actual Character Livepath pamphlet itself to see exactly how this works. The first thing that you're going to be doing is down here, if you have not already determined exactly what heroic culture you're going to use, you would be going ahead and rolling at random to see which one you get. Just to go through them real quick, we have the Bardings, which, remember, these are the folk of Dale, next to the Lonely Mountain. We have the Dwarves of Durin's folk, so of course the Longbeards and the various other dwarven houses that associated closely with them. We have the Elves of Linden, the Hobbits of the Shire, somewhat obvious for that one. The Men of Bree, so these would be the men who live on the west side of the Misty Mountains, close to the Shire, and the Rangers of the North, who of course are the survivors of Arnor. And so, you have Aragorn and all of the people associated and family members of him. Once you've determined exactly which heroic culture your character is coming from, you would then roll with a d6. You would then roll your d6 again to determine which of the 6 backstories that they've generated for it. Inside of each of these, there is obviously a name and a backstory. Each also goes ahead and gives you a set of 3 stats, gives you 1 favored skill, and your distinctive features. So if we go ahead and take a look over here at the Elves of Linden, if I had rolled a 4, I would get the Call of the Sea. It reads, no elf could live by the sea and not be moved by it. The crashing of waves is the second heartbeat to you, but you do not want to depart Middle-earth yet, for you feel that you have some purpose to fulfill before you sail away. You are not certain what lies in your future, but you are committed to finding out. So, with this, my character would have a strength of 4, a heart of 4, and a wits of 6. The bigger the number, the better, because you're deducting this from that target number that we need to roll over. One of our favorite skills would be song, and our distinctive features would be patient and subtle. Once you have determined that heroic culture and then the backstory that your character is coming with, you then would roll a further major event or series of events that have occurred in your character's life. This is very similar to other Lifepath systems, but unlike other ones, there's only really 12 to choose from here, because we're going to be rolling a d12. You will note here that there is the Eye of Sauron. That is because they utilize a special die. If you're using a standard die, then basically 1 through 10 is 1 through 10, 11 is the Eye of Sauron, and 12 is Gandalf's rune, the one that looks like an F where the lines go up. So we have basically what you would do is you would roll your d12, and then this is essentially growing up. Growing up, you became, and then it finishes the sentence, and it gives you certain things. So, let's say we rolled vigorous. It says a strong constitution and maybe a passion for food made you bigger and sturdier, but less graceful in your movements. Increase your endurance by 2, but lower your parry by 1. So, and then of course also it has a quote here from the books that sort of helps define this, and it says here, Gimli rose and planted his feet firmly apart. His hand gripped on the handle of his axe, and his dark eyes flashed, right? Another example might be clumsy. It says here, you lack the grace that sometimes hinders your physical activities, so much so that you grew up preferring to concentrate on loftier manners. Raise your strength target number by 1, and lower another attribute's target number of your choice by 1. And then the quote reads, they were still standing over him, cursing their ill luck and Bumbur's clumsiness and lamenting the loss of the boat. So that one's from The Hobbit. So as you can see here, basically this event is essentially just making a minor modification to your character in order to make it a bit more different and more interesting than just the 6 base starting backstories for each character. So, as I mentioned, short and sweet. That was the Lifepath system, again, that was created by Free League to supplement their One Ring, the role-playing game. Very basic for sure, but definitely something that would be potentially easily implemented by within any number of role-playing games. Just a series of a couple of random rolling tables to kind of create a couple events, spice up basically, essentially it's presets with the attribute stats and some of your skills going ahead and defined, and then of course determining the culture or race or species or however your game does it. So that also really helps, especially if you're having to come up with a character quick at random. So that was, again, the One Ring Character Livepaths. Thank you all for joining us. Do have a good zone, and don't forget to rate your it purchases.